Welcome to day 2 of this week. And this week we are learning about animal features and learning about how those features help them. Our today's learning goal is to continue exploring sequence. In the previous 2 weeks, we read nonfiction books about how we get food, right? And we fill in the sequence chart on those nonfiction books. But these 2 weeks, we're back to fiction stories and we will focus on the characters and what happened to the characters in the story. So, our learning goal today is I can tell sequence of events of a main character. Since our stories now are getting longer and more complicated, and there are more and more characters involved, we can't focus on a lot of things at the same time. So, one of our strategies is that we just focus on a main character. And by learning about that character and know about what happened to the character, we can figure out the story better. And we are going to continue using our academic vocabulary to discuss when we talk about the book in a minute, okay? And our vocabulary for review today is feature, splendid, special, and appearance. So before we read our book today, here is joke of the day. Oops. The joke of the day today. What did the beaver say to the tree? It's been nice knowing you. So, knowing, it's kind of similar to knowing, right? And that's why it is funny. And knowing here means to chew or to bite. It's one of the beaver's habits to chew on a tree to practice teething, and a lot of animals do that. Okay, so uh, and I see that you can tell that today the book that we are reading is going to be about beavers, and we've read this book on day 1. You did your task on it. We found some homophones in the book, and also we found some long A sounds in the book, right? But that was a really brief reading. So today we are going to read this book in detail. And by that, we're focusing on one of the main characters, or just one main character in that book, which is the beaver. And our focus question is what happens to Beaver's tail? Because the story is about a tail, right? And the main character is Beaver. So we're going to put our focus on Beaver's tail. Okay, so let's go back to the book and we will see what part is the beaver's tail about and what happens to it. Long ago, there lived a beaver named Ray. Ray was quite proud of its nice thick tail. He spent a lot of time brushing and fluffing it. I have a splendid tail, Ray bragged. It is the best tail that an animal can have. So, in the beginning of the story, we already saw Beaver's tail, right? And there is a part talking about Beaver's tail, and the beaver's name is Ray. He is really proud of its splendid tail. So splendid tail, if I use another word to replace splendid, it could be pretty tail, beautiful tail. Okay, right. So in the beginning, we can say, I'm gonna use my text box here. Ray, or I can just say the beaver. The beaver, Ray, has a splendid tail that he is proud of. right? And I'm not going to talk about every single detail. I'm not going to say that, oh, Ray is spending a lot of time fluffing and combing it. I'm not going to talk about that because that's really too detailed, right? And I'm trying to put those details in sequence, and we're only talking about the sentence that's related to the sequence. Okay, let's see what happened next. And when we read, I need to make sure that this focus question is always sticking to my head. What happens to Beaver's tail? So the story, the chart that we're filling today has nothing to do with other animals, has nothing to do with anything else other than the tail. Okay. So one fine day in April, Ray went out. It is a nice day to chop wood, he said. So Ray got an axe. He chopped a big tree 8 times. So here is my question. Have we learned anything about the Ray's tail so far? No, not right. So that's not related to my focus question here. What happens to Beaver's tail? So that means I don't really need to mention that here because Beaver's tail didn't show up yet. The big tree swayed its way this way and that. Then it fell on top of Ray's tail. Okay, something happened to his tail. What happened? So we can talk about one day when he was chopping wood, a big tree fell on his tail. Ray tugged and tugged at his tail. He gasped when he pulled it out. So he finally pulled the tail out, but the tail is flat. My tail is flat, Ray wailed. The sun looked down at him. She could tell that Ray felt bad about his tail. So again, here, the sun has nothing to do with Ray's tail, right? Because we're focusing on the character Ray, not the sun. So I'm going to pause here a little bit and I'm going to use my words to explain what happened to Beaver's tail. So in the second box, next, Ray had a flat tail when a tree fell on him. Right? And I'm using my simple words and I'm using the best generalizing I can to put the details together. So let's go back to the first one and see if they're connected. Okay, first, Ray has a splendid tail that he is proud of. Next, I'd better keep my set tense all the same. Ray has a flat tail when a tree falls on him. Oops, falls on him. Okay, now I'm going back. A flat tail will help you swim fast, the sun explained. A flat tail can send a signal too. Just slap it on the water. That made Ray happy. Again, here we're talking about Beaver's tail, and it seems it's a conversation between the sun and Ray, but do we need to mention that in our chart? We're going to think about that, okay? Let's continue with the book. Now, Ray thinks that I have a special tail. So notice how the mood changes of Ray. In the beginning, he was proud, and then when his tail got flat, he was really, really sad, right? He was wailing. That means he was crying and he was sad. But after the sun is comforting Ray, now he got better and he feels I have a special tail. Then Ray slapped his tail on the water. Slap, slap, slap. His pals came running. Do you want our help? They asked. So here I want to put a sentence because Ray's mood changed after he talked to the sun. So this part, Ray has a flat tail, was when he was really, really sad. But after talking to the sun, Ray feels that his tail is special. So I'm going to put down, then Ray feels that he has a special tail after the sun talks to him, right? And then let's see what Ray did to the tail. What happens to Ray's tail? I want to give you a ride, said Ray. Hop on my tail. I will carry you across the lake. And Happy Ray swam off as fast as a fish. So, in the end, we see that Ray used his flat tail to carry his friends over the lake or across the lake. So, that's going to be my last bullet point here. And I have no space, I'm going to just write it here. Ray uses his tail to help his friends cross the river. Okay, and that's gonna be my last point. So now after I fill in my chart, you see that all my sentences, all my 4 details are in order, in sequenced, right? Based on the story, what happened first, what happened next. And then they're all about Ray's tail, right? Not even one detail is not about the tail. So this is what we need to focus today when we write about our charts. I want you to just focus on one character and talk about this character. So your task today is to read How Bat Got Its Wings. Remember when we had storytelling in our school? Miss Adams came to our classroom and give us stories, and a lot of her stories are about how the animals got some features, right? And this is one of the stories here, and I want you to go on Wonders and find this book, read about it because there are a lot of characters in it, but I want you to just focus on the bat because he is the main character in the story. And I want you to have this question stick to your mind while you read the book. What happens to the bat? Not about the other animals, it's only about the bat. So tell me first, next, then, and last. You can mention the other animals to help you describe what's happening to the bat, but I don't want you to focus on other animals. Okay, so make sure your 4 parts all have what happens to the bat in it. Okay, so looking forward to your answers.